What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today gonna be taking a little bit of a field trip to a buddy's house to be doing some stuff, and we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do here before we leave. I may even get a little head start on it. I had a plan, but let's just talk about it. So in the last couple videos on the GMC Sierra, the black Stepside Sierra, we have done several things to make it look a lot better. Obviously, we paint corrected the top, the doors. We got the painted door handles on. We got the painted turn signal, well, the painted caps, turn signal mirrors on. Got rid of those SS mirrors. I know some people like the SS mirrors. Like I said, guys, I like them on my green truck over there, but on this, I just wanted something bigger. And then we went to the inside. We put a sub in, we put an amp in, we put new speakers, we cleaned up all the interior, got the carpet re-dyed. It's looking good. So here's the issue, guys. I'm going to move my son to this as his daily driver, and which means it's going to be a little harder for me to work on it from time to time. So I'm trying to get as much stuff accomplished as I can. Oh, we also put a new third brake light in, but because he uses a truck for a lawn mowing truck, we're gonna have to put a hitch on it. Now, here's the issue. This lowering kit that's on this truck is a cheapie. It's really cheap. eBay kit. It's like, I don't even know, some cheap suspension kit. But when I was crawling under there looking at it, I don't love the flip kit. It looks like really thin metal. And I don't like the C-notches, same situation. So here's what we've got. I ordered these, and I've used these in the past. I actually ordered these for another vehicle, but these are Weld-in C-notches from Recklez. And guys, they are incredibly well made. I can't say enough about them. They're very easy because you can just set them on, cut your weld around the top, cut the center section out, weld the centers in, and you're done. They fit, you don't have to build them. They're not bolt-in. These that are on here are bolt-in. So my plan is, we're gonna take this to my buddy's house. We're gonna take the bed off. We're gonna weld these in, take the old ones out, the bolt-in ones out, and that'll just make me feel a little better. It's not like he's hauling a big car trailer, but I don't want, anytime you're hauling with one of these trucks, guys, I really think you need a weld-in notch. I don't trust the bolt-in C-notch. I don't know why, but I just don't. I'd rather have something more secure, more solid. Now, the downside to the Recklez stuff is you do have to notch the bottom of the bed. Now, here was my original plan. I was going to move the green truck, back my black truck underneath the lift, use some straps, lift the bed off. Here's the problem. My lift, I don't think is gonna go high enough to clear the tire. So if you're looking at my green truck right now, this is kind of how I was gonna set it up. I was gonna let the lift down, strap the bed to the lift, take the bolts out, and lift the bed up. But as you can see, I don't think we'll get, that's about as high as it goes right there. It may go one click higher, but I don't think we're gonna get it high enough. Now on the green truck, it probably would work because it's lower. But on the black truck, I don't think we could get it high enough to clear the tire to pull the truck out from under and leave the bed there. So I think we're just gonna do it at my buddy's house. He's got a 2-post lift. And so what I may do is go ahead and crawl under, get a couple, there's only 8 bolts that hold the bed on. And then the tail lights we have to unplug. And then in here, we need to undo these. So I'll probably go ahead and unhook like our gas door. Well, not the door itself, but these 2 Torx and this guy right here, and that'll make that loose. Go ahead and maybe get 4 of the bolts out so we can drive it down there. And then the other thing is, guys, he's about 15 miles away from me, so it is easier to do it this way probably because I'm not having to worry about trying to strap the taillights to the bumper because they're not gonna be mounted. I think it'll just be easier this way. So anyway, just kind of wanted to explain to you what was getting ready to happen. So we're gonna load up. I'm gonna try to bring my camera along and show you guys this as we go. I'm also taking a couple cans of paint because those are uncoated just to spray them down. And then I've noticed, I think there's a bunch of leaves that are sitting on top of the gas tank that I'll knock out while we're down there. But either way, let's load up, get this thing down there. Okay, you can see we're here, we got the bed off, rolled the truck out from underneath it. And here's what we're doing. So we're basically taking the bolt-in pieces out. We're putting the weld-in pieces in. And it sounds really simple when you're not the one welding it. But either way, got a couple pieces to cut on the bed too, because this comes up a little higher. So we're gonna have to, actually, we're probably gonna have to notch that as well. Maybe not. Maybe that'll go on the inside. But on the inner, we gotta notch this piece right here. So we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna show you the welding process because it jacks up my GoPro. So anyway, you can see he's got some pretty sweet rigs here. But we're gonna get started. I'll kind of cut in and out. So we got the old ones out. Those are the bolt-in ones. He's welding the new ones in right now. This is kind of the area what we're doing here. It's going up an additional about an inch. You can see where he marked it out. Once he got that side tacked in, we started on this side. So cleaned all the frame coating off so he can get a good weld on it. And it's looking good. So he is all finished up welding it. Looks great. Obviously sprayed some paint on it because it was bare metal. And then look under here, cut the bottom of this off. You have to cut in just a little bit. Took that plate off for the exhaust, but you have to cut in about 6 inches on both sides. So we've got that done, and we put some paint on it as well. But now we're just ready to put it back together. We are back at the house. Can't thank my buddy Mike enough, guys. He is the one who is going to be addressing the cracked frame on the 55. Just an incredible welder. I mean, he's been doing it for 30 years. He's just really good at what he does. So I got the old C-notches there, and we got some, I'm just gonna put that, he didn't have a metal pile that we could put that in, so I've got a metal pile that we recycle. And so other than that, I need to get under there, get those other 4 bolts in, and then I need to get our screws and bolts back in here. One of them's just a clip, and then those 2 Torx. Let me go grab those, get that stuff in, and we'll see what we want to do next. There's something I noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed this. I didn't have a ton of time. I really wanted to blow off, or he blew off like all the leaves and junk there. I really wanted to kind of wipe the bed, the front of the bed and the back of the cab, but it's not a huge deal. It's going to get dirty again anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking better. But the thing I was talking about, if you guys didn't notice, this has a lift shackle on the back. Not really sure why. I don't know if that kit came with a lift shackle. So we've got a 6-inch flip plus a 1-inch lift shackle. So I don't know what's going on with that. We may put a set of stock ones in. This thing's always had kind of a lean. I really kind of wanted to wait. I wanted to wait until I got my tailgate and the hitch on, but I may go ahead and swap those out too. I don't know. I think I may have a stock set around here somewhere. I actually think the next thing I'm going to do is hook up the backup camera. So you guys saw in the last video where we finished up cleaning the interior, putting the sub in and whatnot, we have the backup camera. I ran that through the firewall when I did all the wiring for the sub. And so I want to go ahead and hook that up. So here's what we need to do. I need to cut my zip tie with my coiled up wire here, and we're going to run it down the side. I'll try to show you guys as I go. I want to cover it in some wire loom, but that is why I did not do that, because I didn't want an additional wire in the way with him welding. So I'm going to get my jack and a couple jack stands and get this thing up on this side, and then we can hopefully roll under, and I'm going to bring it down the frame rail here. And like I said, I'll try to show you guys. I'll just kind of duck in and out. But once we get to the back, then we need to remove the tail light, because it does have to hook into the reverse light. Otherwise, it's going to be on all the time, and we don't want that. So I'll just, like I said, kind of cut in and out, showing you guys where I tuck the wire. One of the things you'll notice, I don't know if you guys can see back there, but I've wrapped it in some 1/4-inch loom, zip tied it to that big connection that goes into the box here, zip tied it here. I zip tied it to the big piece that comes out here. And so now what we're doing is we are tracing this. You can see that wire loom right there. It's covered. I've got it loomed up to about right here. We're gonna need some more loom, but I'm gonna zip tie in that inner fender, probably on the outer side or maybe to the bottom. And I'm just gonna follow that all the way down, and I'll just kind of cut in, like I said, and show you guys as I go. I'm gonna need some more loom, but I think the loom provides a little bit of additional protection from heat. There's not a lot of heat in that area, especially with no catalytic converters, but either way, I still like to protect it with something. I'm gonna attempt to show you how the wire was ran. I used a lot of zip ties, guys, so you could see it. Zip tied to the fuel line there, and then I went back to that big pack, that big wiring bundle. Here I zip tied to the corner. You can see it right there in the very top corner right there. went up above the gas tank, ran all the way. So this is the tough part. You kind of got to reach up over the tank on the top side of the frame and run with the wires and the brake lines. And then when we got back to here, it got a little easier because you can see got it zipped up to all these lines down to here, and that's where I've stopped. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this side down. I was gonna also show you, see those lift hangers or lift shackles that I was talking about? So if we put the stock ones in, we would get a little bit more drop, which would make it a little more even. But at this time, like I said, I'm gonna put this down. We're gonna lift up from the rear end. I'm gonna chock the front wheels, and we're gonna work on getting the back part kind of plugged in where it needs to go. I told you guys I was gonna let it down, but I figured I can get under it like this. So I went ahead and put this in place so it sets behind. You can set it behind or in front. I kind of like it behind better. The wire is pretty close here. I mean, it's, hopefully we don't have any issues. Now, is this as nice as the ones I've used in the past that are built in, like the small ones? No, but this one's also like 30 bucks and those are like 140. So in my opinion, guys, I just didn't think the quality of the camera was that great. This one, I don't know, it may be better, maybe about the same. Obviously it's big and looks kind of goofy, so I don't know how long this will last. The cool thing is the wires are all the same that run from the front to the back. So if you ever decide you want to change, all you have to change is this pigtail. So what we've got is, we need to get, this is the piece that plugs into the camera, and a lot of times these are the same too, but this obviously plugs into what we ran from the front. That makes sense, but we need to grab power. And so how we're gonna do that is we need to grab it off the taillight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the taillight out of the pocket, and I'm gonna chase the wire down a little bit. So I don't really wanna do it, I don't wanna plug it in back behind the taillight, but at the same time, I wanna know where the reverse is. And the reverse should be green. So what I may do is pull it out, confirm that the color's right. I think I'm just gonna leave it out, to be honest with you. Just that way we know, we don't make any mistakes. So we just need power to the reverse light when it's on, and then a ground. And there should be a couple grounds under there. So I'm gonna tie this up, and we'll cut back in and show you guys kind of what it looks like when we're finished. I'm gonna have some extra. As you can see, I've got some here, and then we've got the piece that I plugs in right here that came out of the actual camera. So we'll have some excess that we'll have to kind of rope together. I may put some loom on it and try to make it nice, but I'll cut in and show you guys once we get the taillight out and show you where the reverse is. A couple things I want to show you guys. First off, normally the OCD in me would clean this pocket out, but we're going to be replacing these down the road. There was only one screw holding the taillight in, and when I took it out, you could see the green wire. That's the wire that I thought it would be. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back in, but this light was not in place. So junk. These aftermarket taillights are junk for the most part. So that's a plan down the road. We're going to get that addressed, but for now, I just wanted to make sure that it was the green. We're gonna probably go underneath to that junction box, which is right here where all these wires come in, and we're gonna unplug it and grab the green down below. Probably didn't even need to do that, guys. I got that back in, but the bulb still, it does not go in the housing. That's why it was out. I got it kind of wedged in there, but we'll just have to address that later. So I took the bottom plug out, which actually goes to the passenger side taillight, but you can see the green wire right here. That is what we were looking for. So I'm gonna go grab some of my Positaps, which I absolutely love. I'll show you guys that here in just one second, but we're gonna tap in right here for our power, and then we will look for a ground. I'm assuming there's probably a ground somewhere on the frame. I see a 10mm up there. There's probably a ground within this harness, but I'd rather ground it somewhere else, so I'm gonna look for another ground up top. I'm gonna try to catch you up on everything that we've done here. So I use that piece that holds this junction box. There's a 10mm right there. Cleaned it off really good with a wire brush. That's where my ground is. So that ground from the connection piece. My positive, you can see I use one of these Positaps, which, guys, I love. It just kind of sandwiches around the green wire at the bottom, and I'll list these in the description. I've been using these a lot because you can remove them down the road if you don't like them. And so I went into my green wire. Obviously we plugged the yellow to the yellow, and then the only other connection we needed to make was this guy, which was the one that went to the actual piece we put on the license plate. So I'm gonna plug this in, and I'm gonna test it before we go making this all pretty. and tying it up where I kind of want it. So I just wanted to show you guys kind of how the connection part works, and we'll make it look a lot nicer, that's for sure. But like I said, I want to test it before I do that. So I need to plug this back into the bottom, and then we'll go get in the truck and try it. I went ahead and set the truck back down because the jack was right in front of the door, but let's give it a shot. Let's hope, guys. The driver door's ajar. Okay, got power. All right, perfect. So it works. It's exactly what we needed. So now we can tie up all those wires down there. So I'm gonna do that off camera, put a little bit of loom on there, make things look a little nicer. I got some loom left over there. Probably have to grab some bigger stuff, maybe the next size up, but we're gonna get that done, and then I'll take you under there and show you. Let's take a look at what we got. It's ugly, but it's better. So I just kind of went back and forth, zip tied it up. I mean, it's not real pretty back here anyway because of the trailer stuff, but we're gonna address that down the road because we gotta put a hitch on this thing. So we are finished on the backup camera part. Now guys, I think I'm gonna turn my attention to those shackles. I don't like them. I'm gonna change them. So I've got some stockers over there. That is our next step, is to get this thing, probably gonna have to get some more jack stands, lift it up from the back, and start to get these loose. It kind of sucks because on the step side, I feel like you don't have as much room, but we'll get in there with a 21mm and start to loosen those things up. Before I do that, I got a measurement, and it's kind of alarming because, look guys, this is a common issue with the NBS trucks, is called Chevy Lean. Now, it was an issue on the OBS as well, and it's continued throughout the years for the most part, but it seems to have gotten better the newer the trucks get. All right, so we obviously have the same components, front, rear, on both sides, and we've got a 4-inch drop in the front, supposedly, and a flip kit with the lift shackle that you guys saw in the back. Here's the problem. We are 1 inch off side to side. So I went through and measured it. The front up here is 28 3/4. It's 29 3/4 on the other side. The back is 30 7/8. It's 31 7/8. So you can see it's almost tuck and tire up here in the front, and it's pretty close here on the back. But if you go to the other side is really where you see it. Look how much gap there is in comparison on this side. You can really see it in the back. So here's what I'm thinking. I don't necessarily like doing this, but I don't have any other way to fix it because this is an A-arm drop and not a spring drop. So how I fixed it on my green truck, and I don't even know that I showed you guys back when I did it, but I trimmed a little bit of additional, like a 1/4 of a hoop off that passenger side front spring. Well, obviously I could do that. I could take this all apart and trim some off that front spring. I don't really want it any lower though. That's the issue. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just replace one side. So obviously we have a lift hanger on this side. I'm gonna put the stock hanger on the other side, which means I need to get under there with a 21mm, pop that old one loose, and I may have to loosen both sides in order to make it happen, but it is a 21mm. We're gonna get under there, see if we can put a stock shackle on this side, and then we're gonna kind of bounce up and down on it, and we're gonna measure it again and see, because ultimately, guys, I've noticed in the past, I've never noticed any drivability issues when I've done this, because I have done this before, except I've not done it with the lift shackle, I've done it with the drop shackle, like a drop shackle on one side. What happens is when you suck the back side, the opposite side down, that will pull this side up a little. That makes sense. So pulling that side down will help create more of a drop on that side. It'll create more drop back here, but it'll also pull this side up a little bit and the front up a little bit, if that makes sense. But I'll talk about it within the measurements and we'll go over it once I get it finished. But let's get under there and see if we can pop the other shackle out. Got the 21 out of the bottom, got the top one loose and the nut off. And then, so what I've done, guys, I've got it supported with jack stands in the front. You can see those up there. We didn't have a great place to put them, but it's supported. So now I've lifted the rear end back up now that this is loose, and you can see I should be able to thread out the bolt over the top of the frame right there. You guys can see we're clear, and I'm gonna attempt to put the stock one back in. Let me tell you what I forgot. step sides require the bed to come undone. I wish I'd have done this when we had it down at the shop. But anyway, we're gonna have to loosen the 18mm bed bolts. So there are the two, there's 4 in the back, and probably have to release the 2 in the front because it's hitting the bottom of the bed. We can't get it up high enough to clear that bolt. If that bolt didn't have the washer around it, we probably could, but I'm gonna take those out. I've got my impact here, it won't take me long. And once we get it out of there, then just the force of lifting this leaf spring should push the bed up. The leaf spring is actually gonna push it up, I'm hoping, and we don't have to get another like jack over here to try to lift the bed. I don't think we'll have to, but I'll let you guys know. Check it out. Got a little luckier than I thought. I only took the 4 out in the back, lifted it up, and we had just enough room to sneak this guy out. If a guy trimmed that down a little bit, that washer, could probably make it work. But either way, I'm gonna go grab the other one, and we'll get it up there, see if we can set this thing back down. I want to show you guys the difference. You can see the stock one's quite a bit longer. So when you have a flip kit, when you don't have a flip kit in place, this would lower the truck. But because the axle is on top, now we're creating, it's basically pushing the leaf spring in the back up, which causes the truck to go lower. That's why these work as a 2 to 3 inch, well, about a 2-inch drop on a truck where the leaf spring is on the top side of the axle. But when you do a flip kit, it's just the opposite. So I wanted to show you guys that. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on it here before I put it into place, but then we'll get it back up in there. As you can see, got it back in there. I did have to put my hand up in there and pull down the spring a little bit, obviously guys, because it's not centered. And when I say centered, like this side is higher than that side, so you got to kind of pull it down a little bit. But I was able to get it in there without, you know, it's actually pretty easy. So before I put the bed bolts in, I want to set this thing down. I'm going to kind of bounce up and down on it. I'm not going to tighten it yet, and we're going to do some new measurements. It did change things quite a bit. So the front, so just the front, the driver's side front was 28 3/4. It is now 29 3/4. So it brought the driver's side front up about what, half an inch. It brought the passenger side front, actually it's the same, so it didn't change, which is good. So we gained some room in that front fender, stayed the same over here, so we're square there, and it's actually within a half an inch from left to right now. Now in the back, so in the back on the driver's side in the rear, we were at 30 7/8, and now we're at 30 1/2 inch, so we gained some there. And on the passenger side rear, so where the most gap was, we went from 31 7/8 to 31 1/4. So guys, is it even? No. What could we do at this point? Well, like I said, guys, really the only way to fix this is, there's some companies out there that say they make a set of lower control arms that address this. Not a huge fan of those companies. But you could ultimately try that. The other option, guys, is, like I said, you can trim some off the opposite side front hoop. Your issue is generally in the front. I think that you can adjust it in the back, but I think a majority of, like I said, if you trim some more off that front right passenger side hoop, and when I say hoop, I'm talking about the spring, if you trim some off that spring. Now, we could go one step further. So this is a lift shackle when it's in the place, or when the axle is on top of the leaf springs, like I was explaining earlier. The one that we put in is a little longer, so we gain a little more drop on this side. That's what pulled up that front side, opposite side. Now, that was a stock hanger. We could buy a set of aftermarket drop hangers and go one step further, so we could go another inch. I just don't like doing that. I just think that that throws the geometry of the truck off when you're going down the road. So we're gonna live with this for now. I'm gonna get under there. I'm gonna make sure that these are torqued to the proper settings. Guys, it should be 70 on the top, 70 on the bottom is what the proper torque specs are. So I'm gonna double check those just to make sure. And aside from that, I'm gonna leave it for now. We're gonna call it good. So I did bounce up and down the bed before I took my measurements just to make sure it was kind of settled. And so we may get a little bit of additional drop. I checked the tire pressures too. That's another thing you need to do before you start measuring, but at this point, let me get this tightened back up, and we'll see where we go from there. Once I bolted the bed down, it actually went down another 1/16 of an inch on the passenger side. So that's kind of exciting. I think we're gonna end this video here. That is about as much as I want to do on this in this video. Guys, we got a lot accomplished. I know I didn't show you a lot of the welding process, but I didn't want to interrupt my buddy. I didn't want to wreck my camera, but you guys are able to see at least how good those Recklez, I guess. I mean, Recklez is how I would pronounce it. But anyway, guys, I've used those a couple times. They are great product. I cannot recommend them enough. They fit perfect. Not a lot of work to do there. Of course, the hard stuff was already done. And when you have a plasma cutter and a good welder, guys, those are the business. And the whole reason is, like I said, down the road, if he puts a lawnmower on this thing, it's gonna squat. And I'm wanting to put some helper bags in there. I just wanna make sure that it's not hitting the frame ever. And we just gained a little bit more when he's got a lawnmower in the back or he's got a trailer on. So we're gonna come down a little more. That's why I didn't go any further. Obviously we got the backup camera installed, but and we got it somewhat leveled out, but it's gonna go down a little further because we still have a couple things to add to it. Obviously the tailgate is still at paint with the hood. Once we get that back, you know, that's on the very back of the truck. That's gonna bring it down some. And then the other thing is we're gonna have a hitch on here. And those things aren't really light either. So with those two things, we're probably gonna add about 100 pounds to the back of this truck. And so it is going to come down and look more level. And that's why I don't really care to go any further as far as dropping it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We can always go back and adjust it. So here's what we can do. Those adjustable shackles, we could get a set of those, like I was saying, and they have two holes. They have one for a 7-inch and they have one for an 8-inch. So we're saying that the flip kit is a 6-inch drop. If you add a drop shackle, now it's a 6-inch drop with the stock shackle in place. But if you add a drop shackle to that, you're gonna get 7 inches out of the first hole and 8 inches out of the second hole. And so that's what we could do. If we get the tailgate on it, we get the hitch on it, and it's still unlevel, what we may do is we may buy a set of those, set it on 8 inches on the passenger side and 7 inches on the driver's side. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But either way, got a lot accomplished on this thing. It's definitely coming along. We still got a lot of stuff to do to it, guys. I know I've been blasting you with a ton of content on this thing, but my son is actually daily driving it now. You guys are gonna see a video soon of why, but I think it's a pretty slick little daily driver for him. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. Guys, if you are not subscribed, go down there, get subscribed. Of course, while you're down there, ring that bell icon that notifies you every single time we drop a new video. And stay tuned to see what we work on next.